for debate. Tesla, I know you can feel me. I know you can hear me. Reach out. Take my hand. One last time across the cosmos. We can make a difference.
So yeah, hello, Vanja.
Hello.
Let's shake hands, tentacle hands. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to your studio today, because we want to go through your work a little bit and discuss different aspects of your research. And yeah, maybe just start off with the research that you're already doing since 9 years, because you're into researching new religious movements since quite some time. And then in 2017, I think you started working with a particular community in El Cajon in California.
Sure.
There is this really fascinating experimental documentary that you then produced out of your research.
So, like you said, in 2017, I started a new cycle of research by dislocating myself into Southern California in El Cajon, which is kind of the northern part of San Diego. And there I encountered Unarius Academy of Science, which is a spiritual community that has a UFO lore as a kind of like a overarching idea with ideological idea. What drew my attention, why I decided to work with them, is their particular practice of past life therapy. The Unarius are founded in 1954 by Ernest and Ruth Norman. They were a couple, and they introduced a past life therapy and the reenactment of past life therapy in front of the camera from the early beginning. And in this way, they kind of like accepted the circular time or non-linear time by constantly deconstructing the linear time and accepting this spirographic mode of existence. There is a certain practice of deconstructing of your own identity. So within this frame, I created several works, video works, a lot of sculptures. Unarius people, they believe that before the beginning of our time, there were different societies that existed. So before Egypt, there was Atlantis, then there was Lemuria, and then there was Orion. And we're talking about a span of million years back. For me it was interesting because I approached them with a question which was very personal to me about to understand the root of my epileptic condition. And they traced it back to the Society of Orion. Everybody in that time had antennas implanted in their bodies. They had chips that would make them compliant to the government wishes. And what happened to me is that I had an antenna which every night I would charge with over a system of induction through a pillow. And then one night there was a large discharge of electricity which kind of corrupted my sine wave. And that moment was following me, and it was manifesting differently in a different kind of like lifetimes. And in this lifetime, it manifests itself through the epileptic condition. We came as a group together. This is like a method that is being performed for already 50 years within the Unarius Academy, where there is a very one-line plot, like I told you now, and then the whole group is participating in a different kind of roles they take. And for me this was interesting, not from a kind of like to see this moment not from a perspective that there is a sick body and a healthy body with a kind of, I didn't came into with a promise that I would cure myself. For me this destabilizing or kind of like accepting this time or this lifetime helped me to embrace this idea of epileptic thinking, where it's allowed to have multiple timelines happening at the same time, to have defragmenting messages, and this is something that I try to as well to use within the video Orion debacle in the modes of editing, weaving the stories, and also treating the footage that we did together. So the past life therapy in this started to be a motor where I was exercising the liquid identity, and this in the case of Orion debacle I was a protagonist, but also I was participating in different psychodramas as more as a kind of like a side act, and that was also open up a completely different a point for me. I started to develop parallel another project which is called the Plant Rant. I really got amazed by this idea of creating a time document on a surface that doesn't have a clear line of reading, or that incorporates in itself the passing of time. And through that, I also started to collaborate with different kind of societies in Cologne. And so we see different plants. There is a sage, there is a nettle, there is Smilje, and there are different elements that are needed for activation of the potion.
I'm Suzanne, and I've witnessed this witch. She's making potions, and she gathers herbs out in the fields, and she boils them, and she's making these poisons, and she's giving them to people.
That is not true! That's not true, you liar!
She's a witch.
No, I'm not. I'm
black
helping
witch.
people!
Oh, no, you're not.
Quiet.
This project also raised a lot of different questions about kind of, besides being the kind of like the historical connotation of witches, also it brought me to a contemporary practice of witchcraft as a way of ecological activism. It was an opening of a new research case for me that I'm still busy with.
Yeah, and I also think that in the video and also in the installation, in the soft column, the material that you're using is also producing a kind of tension or friction, because you're using those really artificial material that has this really bright green color, and you use it, and I think it's also that you recycle it, no? So
True.
Now maybe should we move?
Yes.
Because we're already in the garden theme,
Yes.
but I think we could also start talking about Nova. Yeah, so an exhibition Plant Rant, Mea Culpa on chlorophyll sling. Nice title, by the way. Yeah, you started to maybe work slightly different from the projects you did before, because I think like coming from the figure of the minister and then engaging with the community, the focus was on providing an experience, I would say. There was kind of a shift and a role that you had as an artist. And I think also, yeah, you started to work with different communities, like urban communities, engaged with plants and planting, AG Bepflanzung at Ebertplatz. And yeah, and in one project that you did last year in Vienna, Kunsthalle Wien, you produced a LARP in collaboration with two artists. Maybe, yeah, you can explain a little bit what happened.
Z is all genders, shaping and shifting as Z wishes.
Anna Dalmeida, Alicia Rogalska developed the script of LARP, which was an open call, which brought together 12 different persons in order to spend one day in speculative gaming of within the future, within the setting of imaginative future where the patriarchic oppression has been rooted out. So we created costumes again from the recycled materials from the Schaumstoff fabric, where everything was functioning in a modular way. So people were allowed to be whatever they want in a way. Having this group of very, very different entities, the goal was to also practice solidarity, practice the kind of how do you create a community with a very different participants in this society.
I exist in this world as a form that is not definable, a form that needs no name to be determined and put into one gender, a form that has no roots in one space and has no nationality. I'm not defined by a race that I'm born into, nor by artificial borders that keep me in one place. I don't need to identify myself with a group in order to belong. I'm just me, I'm who I am, I'm formless, I'm just free.
With working with different spiritual movements, I always try to take their practices back into the socio-political milieu and to kind of use their practices as a form of political resistance or different ways of engaging politically in the now. And this was actually a prolongation of that, but with a completely different accents. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I am taking actually further now, this experience. I am bringing together actually the method of LARPing together with the past life therapy. So I'm kind of like blending them together and actually creating my future work is going to be it's going to use these two elements.
And how you will, because your next project will take place in San Marino, no? In the mm-hmm. context of the Mediterranean Biennial. Which people are you inviting in this time?
So the concept of the Mediterranean Biennial is to reassert the history of the Mediterranean era, but starting not from the land but from the water. So to inviting liquid way of thinking, the language of writing in water. So my proposal for this biennial was to already multivocal history of the Mediterranean era, include also the history of Atlantis within it. And Atlantis in itself, for me, it's an interesting tool. So because of its because it is a shape-shifting element in the end, because there are so many speculation where actually Atlantis was when it was existing. So from Plato's dialogues for centuries before Christ till kind of like contemporary also mediation on this phenomena through Ursula Le Guin, Francis Bacon, etc. Kind of like it is a hybrid in itself. So for me, I chose to kind of like include that that shape-shifting element in order to destabilize even more the question of identity. The identity, which is actually very, very a prominent issue within the whole area there.
Okay, thank you so much, Vanja. That was really exciting to go through your work, and I'm so, would be really, really happy to see how this journey continues. And I'm really looking forward to your work in San Marino. And looking forward to continue the conversation with you on science fiction and speculative fiction and non-linear storytelling and circular time. And yeah, there's so much in it for us that is pretty much relevant today, I think.
Same here.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mona Lisa.